Hello, and welcome to another episode of Justified Jewel Podcast. I'm your host, Joanne Cox. And as I say before, Justified Jewel Podcast is all about elevating you to another level in your spirituality. Maybe it's physical, maybe it's health, maybe it's social awareness, but we're here that you are going to be better with the information that you hear right now, this day. And I have a wonderful guest, but before I get to the guest, I want you to know a little bit more about me, Joanne Cox. I have a website and it's called justifiedjewel.com. I'm your motivational speaker and a certified coach. That's right. It's called Trajectory Transition Coaching. And what we do there, just what it says, it helps you with transitions. It's called making the transition process a little bit smoother. And who couldn't use that as a time like this in the pandemic? Okay, so just getting along with this program, we're going to introduce you to our guests. And I always say, it's someone that I know. I like to bring in people that I know, that I trust, and that I admire because of the fact that this person was not referred to me. It is something there that's authentic about this young lady. This is something that you're going to get from her, and that it's going to put you up on a pedestal and make you feel like you want to be a person of excellence, not with ego now. Don't get me wrong, but her name, Lyrica Harris. Lyrica, tell them what you want them to know about you.
Well, thank you so much for such a lovely introduction. Wow, I definitely would like to say first that I have the honor of being the president of our Soaring Eagles Toastmaster Club for this year. So I'm a leader for Toastmasters. Also, I like to be a leader at church. I'm a mom, so of course, I lead my kids and my family. And then also I'm a leader in the office. I'm a professional. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. And I think.
Well, we're going to hear a lot more from you. It's going to be a lot.
I'm sorry.
Because guess what? The title for today is leadership. And we know there are so many different attributes when it comes to leaders. And that's why I selected this young lady, because I truly feel that leadership is wrapped up in everything that we do. When we become great leaders, we're better at parenting. We're better at our jobs. We're better at organizations in and out of different type of clubs. So what I want to bring for the first questions to Lyrica is she talked about Toastmasters. Now, you know what? Toastmasters is that speaking leadership club. It's international. So what is it about leadership that we need to know, Lyrica?
One key aspect of being a leader that I try to live by is being a servant leader. So we have a lot of people in leadership roles because of the job title. So they're a leader because of the job title. But what I think people need to understand is that you can be a leader no matter what job title you're in. So you can be a leader if you're working on the sandwich line at Subway, and you can be a leader if you're a top manager for a huge company. So we have leaders who are natural leaders, and then we have leaders who are positional leaders, right? Yes. So I am a positional leader, but I try to be a leader also naturally and working on that as far as being a servant leader, making sure that I always am trying to do what's best for my team and thinking as a team and wanting to serve not only the population that whatever organization I'm helping out is reaching, but also I'm serving those that I'm leading who are helping to work and fulfill the mission of the organization.
Very well said. And one of the things I know our viewers have heard before, but what makes a great leader is when you have been a great follower. If you know how to accept directions and to put them into action, that is only the beginning of being a great leader because of all the information that you have absorbed. And I realized that one of the things about a leader is unwavering courage, to just be able to say, I want to step out and do this, regardless of, me failing, because I can always get back up. So I know that when people join an organization like Toastmasters, they are scared. They say speaking is one of the number one fears. So what do you say to them, Lyrica, about why should anyone want to be a better speaker?
I think if you're, especially if you're afraid to speak, you should consider joining an organization like Toastmasters that helps you learn to be more comfortable with speaking. And the reason why you would want to improve your speaking skills is if you are a leader, either positional or naturally, that means others are wanting to hear what you have to say. And we're all naturally nervous speaking to a group of people. I mean, even this interview, it's nerve-wracking for me because I want to say the right thing. But if you're honest with yourself and with the people you're talking to, you know that you're not going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. But as you practice, it gets easier. So the thing about joining Toastmasters is it helps with that practice and learning to how it feels and dealing with those nerves and, okay, what is my nervous tick that I do when I'm especially nervous, and how can I prepare better so next time I'm not as nervous? So it teaches you not just about public speaking, but about being organized and learning to prepare, because all of those things help you. And Toastmasters has helped me very much so, personally and professionally, not just for Toastmasters. So it's really cycled back into my life overall. It's just been so valuable to me as a person, and I would just suggest it to everybody.
Yes. And what I've said about Toastmasters before, I like to include it in every aspect of living. And as I said earlier, it's about, not just speaking as a professional person, but what about when we're speaking to the spectrum people over the phone? We want to know how to say it, what to say, and to come across with confidence. And I truly believe that speaking with confidence means everything. Now, as a parent and as a wife and as someone doing social events, wouldn't you say that leadership means a lot? And how can you play out leadership in those roles, Lyrica?
So leaders see problems. I mean, problem might not be the right word, but leaders see issues or problems and take initiative to try to help resolve a problem. So I think natural leaders, positional leaders, of course, when you're in that mindset, you can be, like you said, in a community event. If you're helping coordinate a community event, leading that event, and you see there's a potential issue, you're not just going to sit there and complain about the problem and, okay, put your hands on your hips, who's in charge of this, and what are they going to do about it? No, you step in and you see the need and you step in to assist however you can. And again, that comes with part of that servant leadership too, that servant mentality. So if there's, for instance, there was a situation one time where it was a terrible situation at work, and it was something where, let me just say, without getting into much of the details, it would have been something that I could have called a custodian to handle it, because it was a pretty nasty job. But I jumped in because the custodian I knew wasn't directly there. It was a situation where I had to deal with it right away. And so I just did it. And yes, leaders take that initiative, even if it's something that you may think, oh, this is below me. Like, no, you can't have that mentality as a leader. You got to just jump in. And of course, you delegate when you need to delegate, and you have to weigh and balance everything. But that's what leaders do. You see the need, you step in to assist. And if it's something where it's more appropriate for somebody else you encourage them to help handle the situation. So I think that's the difference between a leader and a follower.
Yes, I call it definite of decision making. It's called plan your work and work your plan, because you just, as you said before, You jump right in and you don't even think about it. You just know that it needs to be taken care of. And that is what you want to do. You want to make sure that you take care of that. And
Yeah.
in Toastmasters, we got communication skills and we got leadership skills. Now, what are some ways in Toastmasters that it helps us to become better leaders?
So how the structure works is you sign up for roles for your meetings. And
Mm-hmm.
so you sign up for speaking roles, or you sign up to lead one of the other activities that we do. So for instance, you mentioned there's table topics, which is a 1 to 2 minute speech that you give. So if you're over that role, if you're the table topics master for the meeting, then it's up to you to come up with the ideas for the table topics and give the instructions to the group and deliver basically those questions and making sure that the team members understand, so that it shows that you take that role, you prepare for the meeting, and then you take action on that role.
Yes.
Mhm.
Now, I just saw you this Saturday at a council meeting, district council
Yes.
meeting, and
Yes.
that is sort of a larger scope. For the people that don't know about Toastmasters, there's so many things outside of just the normal Toastmasters meeting. And that is where I see leadership shine. And it's like, wow, look at everybody that's here. And it's a protocol that you have to take. And so once you start to have these steps in this different type of, protocol and how to answer and when to step in and all of these kind of things, I can see that leadership, take place. So tell me about things like, can you elaborate on when you do something like a club contest?
So I actually did participate in a contest last year, and that
Yes.
was, I did the table topics contest. And
Okay.
speaking of being nervous about doing those things and stepping outside of your comfort zone, I actually was pretty even more, I'm new to Toastmasters. Actually, it's just been a little over a year now that I've participated in it, been a member. And it was something where my mentor said, hey, would you be interested in signing up for this? And I was like, okay, I'll jump into it. And just, that's another aspect of leadership. Like we're talking about, you just got to jump into things sometimes, even if it's not the most comfortable thing for you. You got to do it because at the end of the day, it's going to help you grow. So that contest was really fun because you can't really prepare for table topics because it's an impromptu speech. So you just have to kind of practice giving impromptu questions. I had my family prepping me, asking me things, and I had to speak on whatever they asked me about for 1 to 2 minutes at the
Practice.
house. And yeah,
Practice. Yes.
practice, prepare. And of course, that helps you with your nerves too, is being a little bit more prepared. And so I didn't place or win or anything like that at the contest ultimately, but I really enjoyed it. And I was proud of myself for
But just
participating.
stepping in and doing it, right? That's
Yes.
half the battle, right?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
being there. And
Yes.
I'm a member of Toastmasters as well, and I just know that when you're in a contest, it takes so many people to pull that together, and they've got judges and chief judges, and the preparation behind the scenes that people don't see. They just want to hear lyrical speak
Yeah.
as a table topic, but they didn't realize that there are ballot counters, and a timer
Yes.
and a second timer. These to me are forms of other things showing up as leadership, because you have to show up, you have to know what your job is in doing that. So I want to ask Lyrica this question because she's president of Soaring Eagles out of Clinton. And as an officer, tell me, what is your role as president of a local club?
So I lead each meeting and make sure that I start the meeting out and introduce the Toastmaster of the day, who then basically kind of takes it from there. And then I also close out the meeting as the president. And so I also, outside of the meetings, it's my job to make sure that all of the officers are fulfilling their obligations in their roles, and also assisting as backup if they are having any difficulty fulfilling their roles. So for instance, we have PR, a VP of public relations. We have a VP of education. And for instance, in the education VP of education, his job is to make sure that people are signed up for their pathways and following their pathway program in Toastmasters. So I can also assist and look on our accounts and see where people are at and encourage him. And then also I can also contact members if needed, if necessary. And so just making sure the club is meeting all of our goals. We have educational goals, making sure our membership stays up, encouraging everybody. And that's why I loved it. I love to have signed up for this role. And I was kind of, I joke about it, I was a little bit voluntold to do it. So
I know about that in Toastmasters.
Right,
Yes.
right. I was voluntold, but I humbly accepted it because I knew it would be something a little bit outside of my comfort zone, mostly because I'm not 100% knowledgeable about Toastmasters. I'm new. I'm not even one of the most, we have the distinguished Toastmaster credential for Toastmasters, for example, called a DTM. I'm nowhere near that yet because I haven't completed enough of my program, my individual program. So and I had never fulfilled an officer role before. So it was out of my comfort zone in that way. But then I was so excited to take the role on because one of my most favorite things in life is to encourage others and to motivate them. And I totally get to do that in this role. So that's my goal this year, is to grow our club, keep people encouraged and motivated and excited about Toastmasters because it's seriously fun. We grow personally and it's just a fun thing to participate in.
And it sounds like your role is an overview of collectively keeping things together. That is what I'm hearing about this, and so you guys just recently celebrated I believe a 5-year mark of Toastmasters at that particular club, which is called Soaring Eagles. So someone had to, pull that together, and you had to, be a part of representing that. That's another form of leadership. I see leadership is a mastery of detail and all of the people getting together and making that happen. And for you to just have a pleasing personality. You can't be a great leader without a pleasing personality. And that person that suggested, I like that word, suggested that you become an officer, they saw something in you that the people would accept you as the president of their club. And if it was a paid position, which it's not, it is the habit of doing more than what you're paid for. So I just know of you, and I know that you do more than is what is asked of you. And that is why I consider you a great leader, because you have the rest of that team to pull together for a cooperation. So what I want you to do now, Lyrica, is tell the people about the website and how they can get more information about joining the great Toastmasters.
Yes. So first of all, I would definitely encourage them to check out the toastmastersinternational.org website, which tells you all about the international program. And then to check out our individual club and to find out our specific club and to find out when we meet, our club meeting information, which we are meeting by Zoom right now. And so far, we don't have any plans for that to change in the near future. So it is 542-4901 toastmastersclubs.org. I'll repeat it. Sorry. It's 542-4901 toastmastersclubs.org. And that is our club website. So please check it out and see when we meet, and our Zoom information is on there. We'd love to have you come visit.
Yes. And you've done a wonderful job here today. But before I close, I just want you to talk about leadership as a parent, because I know that when you have that confidence and when you're trying to get a child to do something, you have to have on the game face to make this happen. And we don't want to call motherhood leadership, but the thing is, it's all of those attributes that I just got through talking about. It's about cooperation. You've got to get that child to cooperate. So just give me a little peek on how you get your kid or kids in line.
Ooh, that's a tough one. But Toughest, I mean, being a parent is probably the toughest job I will ever do in life, right? I feel it's the same for all of us. It's because it's spiritual connection, and you're not only physically and financially responsible for your kids, but you're also spiritually responsible for them. So one thing I try to always do is always remember that they are watching no matter what. So I want to always try to lead by example and know that they're looking at me. They're watching what my reactions are overall, no matter what the situation is. If somebody cuts me off when I'm driving, they watch and see what my reaction is going to be. So trying to lead by example is, I think, a huge thing that we can do as parents. We kind of joke around and say, do as I say, not as I do. But we know that at the end of the day, our kids are really watching us. So how are our behaviors affecting our kids? I think our behaviors affect them more than we realize. And we need to be responsible with our behaviors for that reason.
And on ending this segment, what I hope that you received out of this is not just about Toastmasters, not just about work, not just about parenthood, but it's how we show up in the world. And the way we show up in the world is the way we are going to do a great job at work, at Toastmasters, and at parenting, and at being a wife, and doing things at church. Because once we show up to be a person of excellence, it will be embedded and ingrained in us to simply jump in, as she said before, and just wanting to take care of it, not being any better than anyone else, and not being any lower than anyone else, but just wanting to get the job done. So, Lyrica, is there anything else that you would like for the world to know about you?
I think just that the biggest thing that we should be, how I try to live my life, and what I hope, if anyone wants to remember me by something, if God forbid, if something were to happen to me tomorrow, is just that I try to live a life of compassion and love and showing love to others. And that's just how I live as a leader and as parent. I mean, a leader in all the different aspects of life that I am, but I just try to love others. And I think if we live a life like that, then we'll be remembered, and we'll be, I think we'll make our mark and do what we're supposed to do here on earth. We're here for each other. And that's just how I try to live. It's just being there for others. And it's funny because I don't necessarily always want to be the leader in situations, but somehow I wind up in that role. And I don't think it's because I'm anything special. I think it's because I have that heart to want to help others. And when you want to help others, you're just naturally doing that. You're helping them. And then therefore you get pushed to that leader role, whether you like it or not.
And so it's called that servant spirit.
Yeah. Okay. So I just think if any of you would like to if you feel like I want to be seen as a leader, I just think you really need to think about how you show love to others and what that looks like in action. And I think if you work on that personally, then you will be seen as a leader yourself.
Great. So that went by so quickly, and she was so smooth at this interview. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Justified Jewel podcast. I'm the host. My name is Joanne Cox. Visit my website at www.justifiedjewel.com. I'm a motivational speaker and a certified coach. Please check me and my Facebook and any of the social media sites. I'm here, and join us and stay tuned for another episode of Justified Jewel podcast. Bye-bye.